Lysander is the Spartan commander who sees the Peloponnesian War through to an end in Sparta's favor and becomes one of the most powerful Greeks in all of ancient history up until this point. He defeated the Athenians in 405 BC and died in 395 BC, so he's before Alexander the Great. So in this video I want to explain and use the contents of this one paragraph and then maybe another one later on. This first paragraph is from early in the life of Lysander. Plutarch assesses the failings of Lysander's character and uses his strategy against the city of Miletus as an example. Miletus is an ancient town located in modern-day Turkey. Regarding Lysander's character, Plutarch writes that he was cunning and subtle, managing most things in the war by deceit, extolling what was just when it was profitable, and when it was not, using that which was convenient. Such is the conduct recorded of him in the business of Miletus. He had promised to assist his friends and connections in suppressing popular government. But when these friends of his were reconciled to their enemies, he pretended openly as if he was pleased with it, but privately he railed at and abused them. That is to say, he railed at his friends in private and provoked them to set upon the multitude. Set upon seems like a fine euphemism for oppression here. But when his friends oppressed the people, he at once came up and entered the city, pretended to rebuke the first of the conspirators, this being one of his own friends, remember, as if he would punish them. But the others he bade be courageous. And Plutarch goes on to say that all this acting and dissembling was done in public for the purpose of deceiving the most considerable men of the popular party. And so I think Lysander, in placing these councils of 10 in each of these conquered cities to rule as despotic oligarchs over the people of those cities who are accustomed to democratic self-rule, what he would do is he would make himself seem to the people as though he was a checking force against those despotic councils of 10, rather than their author, creator, and administrative superior. But he knows enough to make sure that he does not so ostentatiously appear to be those things to the people. This is a tried and true method for keeping citizens in the dark as to the machinations of the government and the identity of the person who is frustrating the people's wishes. This is really easy to spot in the life of Lysander, with the benefit of hindsight and the explanation of Plutarch. To what extent does it happen today, we might wonder? What I'm going to use as an example and segue between ancient and modern, the episode in history that took place in Florence in the late 15th century regarding Girolamo Savonarola and the city-wide revolt against the Medicis, accused by that priest of usury. And I think ever since then, it has been the policy of magistrates all across Western civilization to ensure that the identity of the princes and potentates was never one and the same with the identity of the people's creditors, or really to use some intermediary device to make it seem as though they are not in league with the creditors. For a long time, it was the Jews serving that purpose. And every now and then there'd be an uprising and they'd just kill a bunch of Jews and the people would feel great about it. And the people wouldn't realize that their anger should really be directed at the government. But up until 1945, that worked. But in 1945, we suddenly decided that killing Jews is wrong. So now what are you supposed to do? You've had your pariah eliminated, and you must have a pariah, or else people are looking at you. Or else people are looking right at the government. So the new pariah are these big banks. And the image that the government maintains is that the banks are our secret masters, just like the propagandists used to say the Jews used to be. And each politician running for office will try to tell you that they are on your side against them, and that the government needs to be purged of people within it who are the secret puppets of these masters. And it doesn't occur to us that these banks are just another intermediary pariah that has been used throughout history, absorbing our irritation because it is to them that we address the check of our monthly mortgage, of our credit card payments, of our health care or our rents. It is to them we address the check, and to the person we address the check is to the person we address our deepest irritation. And we are happy when the government tells us that it taxes us at a lower rate, and yet our money accumulates at Wall Street, and that's where it gets taxed at the higher rate. And we actually believe that the government has done us a favor, and that they have not just simply waited for our money to come into a bigger pile and get it there. And the focus of our discontent as citizens is divided between the many heads of the Hydra. And it is easy enough to be correct in your conception that these banks do indeed cause a great deal of global and national mischief. But how long will we be so naive as to think that they always do only their own bidding? Should we not at least consider that corporate financial institutions are not our secret masters, but that the government is our secret creditor? It's a great trick, and it's right out of Lysander's playbook.